What's up, y'all? Welcome back. I'm Kim,
I'm Saundra.
and we did a thing.
We took our own advice and we gave ourselves room to shift
Mm.
into a new name.
Introducing
Into the gray.
Ayo! Because real life isn't black and white.
We've officially reached the end of our first month of
Yep.
podcasting.
Clap it up. We did
Okay,
it.
okay,
Yeah,
woo woo,
yeah.
woo woo.
Woo woo.
Did that, edited them,
Mm.
spliced them together,
Oh my
added
God.
audio.
And music.
And after much debate and a couple of live sessions, we decided that Space to Shift wasn't exactly the right fit for what we were trying to go for.
Yeah.
Into the Gray allowed us a little bit of room to live in the
Those little
in-between.
in-between areas, right? Because
Yeah.
life is not so easily cut and dry. There's really no rule book. And we find ourselves in that gray area more times than not. So,
Yes.
yeah, I feel like this is going to be perfect
Exactly.
for what we got going. 2026.
Exactly.
Bitch. Cut that out.
That's saying yes. Gold. So in this episode, we're going to explore what it looks like to live in the gray areas.
Right. We're going to talk about what it's like to love people that we don't necessarily agree with.
Hold our boundaries.
We're going to question some belief systems.
And we're going to allow our identities to kind of flow in all the gray space.
Flow, baby. Okay, I am.
All right. So first topic is loving people that we don't fully agree with.
Oh.
I feel like this is something that we really weren't given space to do at all.
Yeah.
In our past cultish life. It was either this or that. It was either world or us. It was either, whatever. So how do you navigate that space now?
That's hard because I do feel like, to your point, it was a lot of, if they're not with us, they're against us. So we would say that we would love people, but did we? And so then, of course, as personally, as I begin to what they would maybe classify as drift from the faith or backslide or whatever, when I'm the person that's kind of in that gray space, I realize that I don't necessarily agree with what they're saying, but how do you still fuck with them in real life? How do you, or do you?
Is there a time that you can think of when you were in that very legalistic space, for lack of better words? Was there a time when you disagreed, but you still kind of just went along with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Example.
My very first experience of that was coming home to homeschool. I felt like it was the understood, this is what a wife and a mom should do. And I just didn't feel like that was, for me, what I wanted to do. But I feel like it was very black and white. You either was a holy woman and a holy wife and you homeschooled your kids and you came home and they were your number one priority, or you were a woman of the night. You were, you know what I'm saying? You
use a hoe.
Yeah, for real. Listen, Luda would love us. But it was definitely either or. There was no in between. And so I definitely felt my first kind of well, what happens if this is not what I want to do? I don't want to do this. Is there acceptance for that? And I feel like it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't. I had to just basically acclimate. And so that was a hard.
What do you feel like would have happened had you not acclimated?
I would have been forced into submission. I feel like
forced.
I feel like there would have been enough manipulation that it would have broken me down to I would have.
Okay.
I don't think there's a version of me that at that time would not have succumbed to the pressure around me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now when you go into spaces where you know that you don't agree, do you feel like it's that same pressure? Or do you just feel freer to kind of push back against the pressure?
Not at all. Definitely not the same pressure. I definitely think that spending a lot of time alone forces you to be okay with where you land in your thinking. And even if no one's agreeing with you, you kind of you're okay with it. And so, and I feel like now it's easy to, it's not personal. If we don't agree, that's cool.
Oh, that's good.
And it's no longer this reflection of my lack of maturity or my spiritual growth or my anything. It's just we just don't agree. And so, yeah, it's easy to disengage in that way. I feel like it's a lot more pressure when you feel like it has to be
Black or white.
No, yeah. And if you
Yeah.
disagree, like there's no space for you, right?
Yeah.
Like
Do you feel like that causes distance between like you and the person that you're disagreeing
it
with?
can if that
Yeah.
other person is very like staunch on that. If they feel like you have to agree one way or the other, I feel like it can be a very stressful relationship because I'm okay with saying, hey, we just don't agree with, on that same level. It just depends. Most people who are very black and white have a very hard time giving that gray space to somebody else. Like they
Oh
won't,
yeah. Oh
they
yeah.
won't. Like, yeah.
Because what does that mean if I say that everything is right if it's done this way, but then you're out here doing it something completely different?
Sure.
Does that make me wrong?
I don't know. Right? I don't, because I feel like that's a black and white thing. Like someone has to be wrong. Someone has to be right. And I think that it's so much more freeing to come out of that thinking. There are some things that I would say, yes, right and wrong, black and white. But like the reality is that it's not that simple. And so if you want people in your life, you're going to have to be okay with the fact that like they don't always agree with you and they don't always see things a certain way. And like, are you cutting these relationships off or are you trying to like make it work, And so like I would ask you though, I feel like just from what I remember of you, like in these very like, I feel like black and white was almost, I feel like you did well in that. I feel like
default.
Yeah.
I needed
like
a
you
checklist.
Excelled in that.
I mean, I do.
Yeah.
Like even to this day, like if I have a checklist of rights and wrongs of rules, I'm gonna follow it to a T.
You got it.
Right. But if you give me like vague, anything, I'm like, nah, we need some guidelines.
Yeah.
We need, I need an outline. I need to make sure I'm coloring within the lines.
Yeah.
Because when I start coloring outside the lines, I'm like, oh, is this quite right? I don't know.
So do you feel like, okay, so, and this is something I've been reading a book lately and it talks about that, where we've been almost trained to not trust ourselves. Like,
yes,
we're trained to like follow the checklist. Is this yes or is this no? And then when that's not very clear, then we start saying, well, I don't fucking know. Like, can I, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, are you saying if you don't have a checklist, do you have that like struggle? Like,
no, okay. I think the creator of the checklist has switched positions. So it used to be very external, right? Somebody else had to give me the checklist and now I'm creating the checklist for myself, right?
When did that happen though? That's a really good distinction. Like,
when I got divorced. No, I'm just kidding.
You're not kidding.
I mean, but not really. But yes, when I had to start walking alone and I didn't have any other choice but to trust my own internal intuition, like, yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I understand.
I can't question and then lean on somebody else to give me the answer because there is nobody else there to give me the answer.
Right.
Like, I'm waking up every day making decisions for myself, and therefore I have to trust the decisions that I'm making.
Was that hard for you though to go from like, in one sense, I could just follow this to now like no one's making this up for me. Like I have to be the person to like.
No, but I do think it was where, I mean, I don't think it's difficult per se, but I do think that it's a growing experience. Like it's not something that just happens overnight. It's not something that you just wake up and like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
It is really like, okay, I made this decision. I'm going to question this decision like 20 times before I'm like, okay, it's okay. I made this decision. It's okay that I made this decision, even if it doesn't work out the way that I thought. Like, even for instance, like moving here into this house and staying in Montgomery, that was like one of those gray area decisions. I had options to do different things. And I was like, I can choose to follow what somebody else is telling me is right for me, or I can say, no, I like it here. I want to stay.
Do whatever. Yeah.
And then figure out what that looks like to stay. Because I didn't have any of those answers before I was like, I want to stay.
Yeah.
And then I made the decision to stay and then worked it all out.
Right.
But questioned it at every turn.
But I think that's healthy though. I feel like people are this is so funny. So, I teach a little like workout hip hop class, right? And sometimes I'll choreograph a song, but I'll leave like an 8 count of just freestyle. And they fucking freak out. Like that 8 count when they don't know, like, is it this? And I'm like, freestyle. And they're like, what do you mean?
Wait, you're supposed to be showing me.
No, literally. And it's just like, no, like, this is your space to kind of do your thing. And they, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. People want to follow.
I agree. I feel like there's too much, I don't know if it's nuance or too much. Like, how do you deal with the person who's still very much locked into like, this is this is that, this is the way. Like, do you feel like you still love them?
Oh, yeah.
Like, Yes.
Yes. I actually, a large group of, or a large portion of my friends are still very much within like the legalistic black or white rules. And it's funny because I'll have conversations with them and they're like, oh, I never thought of it like that. And I'll be like, okay, so are you going to now? And they're like,
Yeah.
well, because it is. It's a lot.
Yeah,
and then I think about it for myself, my journey to like this space of like living in the gray, this space of like allowing myself to see things as more than just this or that was a journey.
Yeah.
Like at least 5 years in the making. So
no, yeah, I agree. And I feel like it's still kind of like one of those things that I struggle with is when there's no clear like do this but don't do this, right? It's like this almost like natural tendency to want to like flip to the page and find the answer.
Yes.
And it doesn't work that way.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. Like
yeah.
And I think too, like when you come out of that and having friends or even people you like associate with who are still very much in that, I don't know, the vein of thinking, it's a lot on your part to give understanding to that person.
Yeah.
To be like you asked me earlier what word comes to mind, and I said patience, because I think that's like the biggest thing. It's like at one point I was you. At one point I was like, no, you can't do that, and no, you can't do this. And like, I just didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, that's someone else. Like, how do I love them where they are, but don't allow their like rigid behavior to like affect me?
How do you hold on to your boundary while also understanding that they're not in the same mind space that you are now? Like, how do you navigate that?
That's a great question. I feel like it depends on the person, right? I feel like if I'm dealing with a person who is very respectful and understanding of a boundary in general, it works.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm dealing with someone who likes boundaries as long as it doesn't affect them, then it becomes some contention because now you're forcing me to choose between you and my boundary, and I don't want to do that. If you can respect it, then like there's room for like relationship. But if you're putting me to where it's like, oh well, this new boundary is making me uncomfortable, therefore you have to like decide, I'm gonna choose my boundary every time,
okay,
because I didn't used to. So
that part
like
so I feel like a lot of who we were as people before, like a lot of our identity was tied up in what we said we did or we didn't believe. So like now, as we're like navigating a space where we're like, I still call myself a Christian, for instance, but when I say that word, it doesn't mean the same thing that it used to mean. So like, how do you kind of navigate that space of like, I have a label for myself, but it doesn't define my identity?
That's hard. I honestly haven't been faced too much with that. So I feel like in the beginning when I was very like, I'm a believer and this thing and that thing and the third thing, it brought up a lot of like, I don't know how to say it. It brought up a lot of things that I probably wouldn't necessarily have to deal with had I not been so like upfront about that. And I feel like now that I've become where I still hold a label, but like there was a version of me that was like, hey guys, here's my label, just so you know, ask me about my hope. Right? And then there's a version of me now that just lives life, and I'm not necessarily forced to like define the label as much. I think when someone talks to me, I think they'd be able to say like, oh, okay, like, so you do feel these things and you do believe these things, but also you hold true to these things. And I think it's a lot more natural that way versus like, I was very much a leader into like, hold on, like, I'm a Christian and these things were true. And I don't
Everything else is a lie. Yeah. And you better believe me when I say this.
No, for real.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. And so I think that it made it, I feel like the need to, that's hard because I feel like the whole like idea of labeling yourself is just still putting like parameters around things. And I'm like, I'm multifaceted. Like, yeah. And I don't want to necessarily categorize it if I don't have to. Like,
But there's also an expectation that if I come to you and I tell you that I'm this thing,
right,
then you should already know what parameters, that puts me in.
Yeah.
And that especially when we say the term like Christian doesn't necessarily mean the same thing to all people. And so I think that's why I have stopped leading with like these boxes or these like labels, and I'm more like, this is, hey, I'm Saundra. And here are our commonalities like together, right? Mm-hmm. And if we end up talking about this other thing, or if you have a question about why I do this other thing, it's because of something else or whatever, but not necessarily like, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
You know what that means.
You know what that means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean when I say that. So let me ask you, okay, so like talking about this, so are there now, because we're in this gray space, are there now like beliefs that you had that were like black and white that now you're saying like, I don't know if I still hold to this like very staunch?
Oh, yes.
Yeah? Yes. Okay. Give me your first one that comes to mind.
You telling me that you're Christian doesn't mean anything to me, right? It's supposed to represent, or at least in my mind, it's supposed to represent love and compassion, caring, giving, all the things, right? Mm-hmm. Shepherding. If your life doesn't display that, then I don't care what title you put on it.
I don't care what you call yourself. Goddamn. I don't care.
Right. Yeah. And I honestly don't care what you profess to be. Like, I want to see.
So let me ask you, was there a time, though, where the old Saundra would say, oh, they said they were this, therefore, like, I believe that?
Yeah.
Oh.
There was a time when I was like, if we walked into a space, like I remember actually we would do like church visits. You remember we would go and like, it was like Fifth Sunday, like church visits or something. We would venture. And we would say, all right, guys, we're going in here. But now they're Christians, but they're not like.
They're the them.
Right.
Yeah, the us's, they're the them type of Christians.
Yes.
Like they going to do a little different.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my thought was, well, if they don't look exactly like us, if they don't talk exactly like us, if they don't like use the terms that we're using, then they must be wrong.
Damn. I felt the same thing.
And now it's not that. It's like, man, do I feel comfortable with you? Mm-hmm. Does my spirit feel at peace with you? Yeah. I don't care if you and listen, now this is that Oprah stuff, right? Like I think of Oprah every time I think of this, but this is that relative, like if you call Jesus any other name than Jesus, then are you really whatever? And now, I mean, I might have to splice this out of the episode, but like,
no, you won't.
But my thought is like, literally, I don't care what you call him. Like, I don't care how him, her, this, that, Mother Nature, all the things. Like, I don't care what the spirit is to you. Like, if my gut is at peace with you, then there's something there in commonality.
I love
like
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the gray that I'm allowing myself to live in, or like even just what matrimony is supposed to look like. Like, I don't care what your really gender roles are in your house. I don't care who's taking out the trash or mowing the lawn. Right.
The, like roles of the household or the roles in a marriage or the roles of genders all together. Like, yeah, that's definitely one that I feel like has been manipulated very well in the religious circles. I feel like
you can only be one thing.
I feel
yes,
like,
soapbox.
Okay, so one thing I heard was that, like, for instance, emotional vulnerability is usually attributed to women. Right?
Yeah.
But then you have, and we have hundreds and thousands of studies that say like emotional vulnerability is healthy. We need to be able to acknowledge our emotions. We need to be able to identify them. They are signs, signals, social cues, bigger things.
Right.
So true. But it's also considered in some sense, because it's contributed to women, a weakness. Right? But then you have...
Because it's attributed to women. Say it again.
I'm just saying.
Say it again.
They're saying emotional vulnerability is contributed to women, which is also a sign of weakness.
Crazy.
Right? Which is one sense why women can't be trusted for certain things, because we're too emotional, right? But studies have shown that if you don't acknowledge at least or deal with your emotions, like, you fucked up. It's in a bad way.
In a bad way.
So hold that thought when you think of 99% of our religious circles are run by fucking men who don't have any type of emotional education, intelligence, whatsoever. Capabilities, vulnerabilities, right? But they're leading a group of people.
Yes. And the only emotion that they recognize or that they allow to lead is anger.
That one is fine, right? But you've got so many other, but these are the ones who are not exercising like how to emotionally regulate. They're not exercising how to be even in touch in what they're feeling, because guess what? You might be feeling that, but there's probably a secondary emotion under that, right? But so like you have all of this kind of like twisted, like I feel orchestrated to a certain T, right, in order to keep this traditional order. And I feel like being in that gray space, I would have never been like, oh, women can preach. Would never. How dare you?
You mean in the black and white space? Yeah, in the black and white space.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
But now realizing that, guess what? A lot of my deepest work came from a lot of spiritual women who were able to fucking help me through my emotions, not men.
Yeah.
Right. And so like these things now are definitely up on the chopping block.
Yes.
Like I'm questioning all of this shit because is this even like Bible at this point? Like, is this, you know what I'm saying? Or even some of like, just again, not even Bible, like the idea that women are more emotional. Yeah. But we're also more stable probably than men because we are in touch with our emotions, right? Like we can make any decision in the fucking world because we know how to multitask our goddamn emotions. Men, on the other hand, do not.
Yeah.
Think about all the violent crimes that fucking happen. Mostly men.
Yeah.
Like,
or just the ability to put words to what's being felt. Because I think a lot of times it's not even that men lack emotions, is that they lack the ability to express what those emotions
verbalize
are.
that.
Yeah. So you can't work past them, you can't work through them because you haven't even identified
and
them.
You're not even comfortable with like talk, like even naming it. You're not even comfortable with like saying, yo, I feel jealousy, envy.
Right.
Like, you're not even going to say it, right? Because they're not always necessarily bad, right? They're just, again, they're cues, they're indicators. And this is just one question of like belief systems. But like,
so black and white gender roles are not necessarily, well, they're not healthy at all for any of us.
Correct.
There is so much gray between gender roles that needs to be recognized in order for there to be a healthy relationship. For sure.
And I think what's practiced is the antithesis, which is, hey, let's lock ourselves into this no matter what we feel. And then as we feel it, we'll just pretend that what we're feeling is sinful and bad and wrong. And we'll just grit our way through that instead of like, no, this is genuinely you're feeling this because something is off.
Right.
And like you need to address that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could go on for days about that. But yeah.
On for days. Okay, so we've talked a lot about like questioning the systems that were, right? How do we like question those systems and continue to question the systems without losing respect, one, for the system itself, but also like for ourselves and for the people that are still living within those systems?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I would say I probably don't respect the system itself. Once I realize it, it's pretty much a sham. But I definitely can still not make other people who are stuck in that feel shitty for being still stuck in that. Because I was stuck in it too.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's harder to not lose respect for myself personally than it would be for the other person. But I do think that, again, it comes with that person being willing to accept where I'm at. And I can respect you if you're going to be stuck to this 50-year tradition and that's where you're at. That's fine.
Yeah.
As long as you can give me the same respect to be where I'm at. And I think, and I think this is how it goes. I think with any belief system, religious or not, there's an indoctrination that happens that if you are at any point going to challenge that, I think it's just built in that you immediately then question who you are, your worth. Are you wrong? Will you be free? Like, I think that that's how they're designed to be.
Yes.
I think if it's not a true belief system, if you cannot somehow subconsciously also convince that person, if they then buck this, that like something is not going to happen to them. Like, I think that there's this, I think it's just designed by default that way. Like, it has to be, there has to be a consequence for going against this.
Listen, ostracism is like the largest consequence that I have not only experienced myself, but have also witnessed be like the largest deterrent for other people to question or to back away from or to challenge within like the system or the belief space that we've been in, because they don't want to be ostracized from the community. Or even they don't want to feel that.
You would even do it to yourself. Like, I feel like there's this level of
self-isolation.
Reclusion you take, all of these things where you
nobody can question what I believe now. Get away from me.
No, it's like, but that's a really good point to be ostracized. Like, and I think that's something that keeps people from questioning. That's what keeps people where they are. It's just easier to accept it than it is to like be the fish swimming against the current.
Absolutely.
Going the other way.
Absolutely.
And so I would pose the same question to you. Like, how do you, because you, ma'am, I love this about you. You are very like 10 toes on your shit. Like, you will be like, and I don't give a fuck what you think, and this is where I stand. Like, it's very sweet. Like, how do you still like respect someone who's where they are, right? Like, without making them feel,
yeah. Well, because as 10 toes down as I am now about living in my freedom is how I was about living within the confines of the systems. Like, I remember having conversations with my dad and saying like, no, that's not a real Christian. That's not what a real Christian does. And he'd be like, all right, little lady.
He let you have it.
Yeah.
All right, little lady.
He'd be like, all right, I'll wait, and he would say things like, I've lived a lot of life. I'm telling you, it's not just this or that. And I would be looking at him like, no, you don't understand. If you really believe in your faith was leading you and da-da-da-da. And like, all right, little lady.
Zealous.
Yes, completely.
Wow.
But in everything, I am zealous. So like in being a mother and being a wife and tipping the line. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like that is just my personality. That's just what I'm bent towards. Like, if I believe it, then I believe it. But once I stop believing it, well, then you can't tell me no different. Like, And so I feel like having the confidence to say, like, I get it. I might walk this by myself, but I'll walk into a room where everybody believes one thing and they'll be like, oh, the grass is green. I'll be like, nah, I saw it. It was blue.
Brown as fuck.
Right. Brown. Right. Brown exactly. And they'll be like, no, it's green. Don't you see the shades? I'm like, no, that's blue.
Yeah.
And I don't mind if I'm the only one saying
was
it's
there
blue.
A time, though, that you felt like you'd be like, no, and let me tell you why. Here's a 3-point thesis on why it's green. Like,
you see them books over there?
So do you feel like with coming into the gray area or the gray space that you also have a level of like, you got it, little lady, like, are you there?
Yes. Yeah. I've definitely adapted. Well, and because a lot of my friends that are still like close enough to me and know like my full story and all of that, they are still within that kind of black and white space. And we'll have conversations where we'll be eye to eye and then we'll get to one topic and they're like, oh no, it's this or it's that. And I'll be like, I think it could be both. You know what I mean? And they'll be like, no, you playing lukewarm. And I'll be like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to be lukewarm.
We need an episode on this because listen.
Yeah.
The fear of allowing another perspective to also be possibly correct is a threat to the fucking system.
It is.
Like,
because if I'm correct in saying that it can be this and that, I've just fucked up your whole world. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
I remember actually, when we first moved from Florida to Virginia, and there was a period of time where we were detached from like a church body. And so I was kind of like questioning some things. It's like, oh my goodness, I had my first freedoms.
How dare you?
Right. But I started posting about this book called Jesus Calling. And I was like, it had like drawn me back into like seeking what the Lord wanted me to do, right?
I'm gonna tell you what they were talking about.
Listen, because I used to write blog posts and my mommy blog and all the stuff, right? And like I was really like thankful for this book that was gifted to me. I don't even remember who gave it to me, but it wasn't something that I went and got. But it took me back into prayer, right? I remember getting a message from a mutual of ours. You know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're.
And I love her. I love her so much, okay?
I had to hear about it, just so you know.
Oh, yeah. I figured as much, right? But the message was essentially, I feel you slipping. It's a slippery slope. Don't you read that? That is blasphemous. Basically, I don't know. Basically, I see you slipping. Yeah. This is me calling you back into the fold. Like, make sure you heed this warning and don't keep going that direction. I was like, hey, I hear you and thank you for loving me enough to reach out. But this is the first thing that's brought me back into the word, and I don't know how long, and seeking out the Lord and what he wants for me, and I don't know how long. So I don't care what rock he uses to bring me back in.
His mouth to tell me any goddamn thing.
Exactly. But I'm hearing something, so I'm going to stay right here, because before this, it was barren. It was quiet. It was, I ain't hear nothing.
People don't know what the fuck is going on with you prior to that, right?
Yeah.
And they're all... Anyway,
right?
That's not what we're talking about,
right?
Yeah, I
but you see, so yes, yeah,
and that's hard because again, you have someone who's super black and white, and like,
it can only be this. It can only look like this.
I know.
Yeah,
it's like they're the most non-flexible, non-compassionate, non-grace-giving humans.
But they're the most full of fear.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because they're a threat to their entire worldview is at hand.
There cannot be multiple roads, because if there are multiple roads, then it is a possibility that I am wrong.
Right. Right. Or that other people aren't wrong.
Yeah.
And
there's more freedoms on that side.
Yes.
And I've been missing those freedoms.
Yes. What do you mean? You know what's so funny? I swear I've been reading this book, but the idea of like, again, the black and whites,
yeah.
right? Even saying like, okay, there are some things that are definitely black and white, like don't kill.
Yeah.
But is that? Because guess what? You walk in my house, I'm going to shoot your ass.
Also, it is a righteous killing if you're killing for the Lord. Like, did the Lord send you into battle?
So then there's like, oh, we shouldn't lie. Except what if you're like, hey, where are all the family members in your house? I'm going to murder them.
Except if you're a prostitute saying, no, I just lowered that basket down over there. What you talking about? Like, ain't nobody here.
So like, are we really talking black and white?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, it's not a fucking rule book. It's more about like navigating with wisdom each part of your life. And, you know, you gain wisdom in time and over time, but like, it's not this checklist. And if you don't follow this, then like that's not how it's designed.
Yeah.
It's not what life is designed to be. So like, I definitely am working on the compassion for others. When I get to it, because it's easy to be like, oh, child,
right,
cute. You
right.
Call me in a year when you get there.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I've
actually said that in my mind. I've had conversations on multiple topics where I'm just like, talk to me when your kids are teenagers.
Yeah.
Like,
talk to me when your man. Never mind.
Right. Talk to me when you get out the honeymoon phase. Talk to me when you've been married for 10 years. Talk to me when But all of that comes down to what you say, wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, how much wisdom do you have in this space? How much time have you spent in this space?
Right.
How much do you really know? How many states have you seen in person? How many cities have you touched down in?
Listen.
How many times have you had to pack up your house and move? Don't talk to me. No.
Come on, well, preacher Matt.
So what about you? Like, where are you living in the gray? Like, what parts are you giving yourself grace to not have all the right answers? Or what is it?
At what point did you realize that it wasn't so black and white for you?
Yeah.
At what point did you notice there isn't a definitive answer here?
Right.
And what am I supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we get a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're faced with this, like,